Hello, everybody. Les O'Hara from the Contractor Huddle with our favorite sales trainer, sales coach, Shawn Flynn. Shawn Flynn Sales. Shawn, how are you?
What is going on, man? It's been 3 weeks and the time has flown by. I woke up today and I was like, holy cow, it's Friday. We're going to make this happen. It's been good, man. I've been busy,
I love my Fridays when we get a chance to banter back and forth. But for the
right?
group, the little bit of a delay, Shawn, for you too. The reason I'm wearing this University of North Texas hat and the reason why we've been off is I've been going around the country with my son, 21-year-old son, who's a quarterback, and fishing for scholarships, and finally found one at North Texas. So we're
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah,
yeah,
I think I saw that on your Snapchat or maybe Facebook or something. I don't know, but I remember seeing you making the tour.
man, it's a relief, I'll tell you. But
Yeah, yeah.
a lot of trips to Texas setting up.
Nice. Beautiful.
Anyhow, great to have you. Great to get some wisdom from you. And so, as I was driving into the office today, this is the time of year, nice weather. We're getting leads. All of us contractors are getting leads, whether we're paying for them or referrals. Neighbors are telling neighbors. So I realized the importance. A lot of my success was the rapport and the professional image that when I met people person to person, I think gave them some ease and started the path down the road of a sale a lot smoother. So today, I wanted to tap into your wisdom that you teach our guys. Now that we're going out, we're meeting people, what are some two, three, four, key points that they need to make sure that they're doing as they're meeting building owners, homeowners, what's your secret sauce?
So, a huge part of this, pretty easy, is kindness. Just general kindness goes a very long way. And you want to kind of approach your we'll call this cold calling because basically you're just showing up unannounced. Even if they're semi referred or whatever, they probably have no idea who you are. Spare a conversation with a friend if they were referred. So you want to kind of treat this in the same way that I tell people to treat their social media approach, which is that before you ever expect to get anything back in return from anybody, as far as becoming a customer goes, or becoming a follower, or becoming whatever, you need to provide value. You need to be genuine in how you provide value. You need to be sincere, and you need to show that you're actually there to help. Your interest is on helping them. Your interest is not on strictly getting a sale and getting their money. So when you're showing up to somebody's house or a business, whatever it is that you're going after, how do you provide value for contractors, construction people, masonry, and all that? A lot of that comes in the form of just offering a free estimate, just a free, let me take a quick tour of your house. I'm in the neighborhood. I just got done doing a couple jobs a few streets over. I looked around and I saw a ton of places that I know my company could come in and help. So I figured, you know what? Let me just make the rounds. Let me just meet the neighbors, say a quick hello. Here's a quick whatever. If you have something nice and friendly, you can give them. And if you don't mind, I'd love to just, no obligation. Just let me take a quick walk around. Let me just give you my personal professional assessment of what's happening and see if there's any way that I can further boost your home value or further boost your business value, et cetera, and kind of take it from there. Take it from that type of approach. A lot of people are afraid to do this because when you start talking about just going door to door and offering free assessments, time management is always a huge issue. Time management is always a major draw on people. So if you're already in the gutter when it comes to how much time you have available in the day, committing to doing this type of approach and this type of hitting neighborhood to neighborhood to neighborhood, it can be tricky, but it's one of those necessities. If you ever plan on winning people over, you have to be genuine, you have to provide value, and you have to be coming from a sincere place. And you have to believe in your heart of hearts that you are actually doing them a service. You don't want to have it, you've got to be completely sold on yourself and your company that you are actually doing them a service by offering them a free assessment, and that you, yes, long term you want to get them as a customer, but you want to truly sincerely believe that you're there to help them. And as long as you have that belief down to the core, it makes it so much easier to deal with a slight pushback. It makes it so much easier to deal with whatever comes your way because you believe, you're sold. I have to come here. I have to take a look. I have to at least let you know what I see, because it would be dishonest of me to not do this. It would be against my code of ethics and my code of duty to not do this. So provide value, come from a sincere place, and be nice, be friendly, have somewhat of a personality. And if you don't, if you're the business owner and you just don't have it in you, get somebody that does.
Do you think that rapport can be taught? Do you think there's any tricks to getting someone to like you right away or to ease their mind? Do you think that's just a natural inherent talent?
For me, it's natural. So it's different for, I think it's different for everybody. I've worked with a lot of people, um, and I can truthfully say that there are some people that just will never get it. They just, it's not who they are, and at the end of the day, that they're just not wired to be in sales. And eventually, you gotta know when to fold your hand, and you just gotta move on. Some people are just incapable of getting it and doing it. But then there's that middle area. So you got the people that just have it, they're natural, they're just born communicators, born personable people, easy to, if they go to a party, if they go to a bar, or whatever, just people just are drawn to them, and they're holding and drawing all the attention. And the
Then
thing
I go
that you have to hammer home is,
X.
how's that for a cliffhanger, huh? The number one thing that you can do is, I
Yeah.
love it.
Um,
You guys hanging.
I
Um,
might I might have you just re-riff on that depending on how well I can cut it.
yeah,
Um,
that's fine. So
so
let's
I,
rewind. So can you teach rapport? That's what we were going
yeah,
on.
yeah.
All right.
So
So when it comes to rapport, all right, you either got it or you don't, or you're in the middle where yes, you can be taught. So the people that get it, again, those are the people that go to a party, go to a bar, they draw attention, they can just naturally make friends, naturally carry conversations with everybody, just easily likable. You got that crowd. You got the crowd that just no matter what, they just, maybe it's biological, they just will never get it. And then you got the people that are in the middle that are, it's a big spectrum in the middle, but that middle chunk, you can be taught, you can learn, you just have to be willing to learn. And the biggest thing, honestly, for most people is just having the ability to slow down and listen, and talk less and listen more. You obviously, when you're showing up somebody's house or business and they don't know who you are, obviously you got to do your fair share of talking. You need to introduce yourself, let them know what you're all about, who you are, why you're there, what the value is that you're hoping to bring. So obviously you need to talk, but you need to slow down and you need to listen, especially when you're new to this, especially when you are just hitting the streets for the first couple times, because it is nerve wracking. And science shows the more nervous you are, the faster you talk, and the more you're willing to just talk, and just to kind of plow through the situation. Then you can be done with it and be like, oh, whew, that's done. But just slowing down, letting people engage with you, letting people talk with you, showing empathy, asking questions, asking people what's important to them.
yeah,
Tell me a little bit more about where you're coming from. Tell me a little bit more about the last time you did something like this. How was your experience? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? What could you wish would be different? Ask them questions that'll get them talking, and then just listen and show them that you're listening, and show them that you care without over talking them. A lot of that is just kind of psychology. It's kind of the psychology side of things. It takes time. First, for me, I'm a fast talker. I do this in conversations with friends and family, and I kind of, even me, believe it or not, sometimes have that little internal cue, more so when I'm talking with somebody. But for me, it's because it's like my passion. I'm just like, I know the answer. I just got to help you just a little bit, right? We're all guilty of that. And it's just having the ability to kind of, all right, Shawn, slow down, let them talk. I know you know the answer. I already know you know what they're going to say. Don't finish the sentence for them. A lot of it's having that kind of an internal dialogue. And again, take it from me firsthand because I have to constantly have that little man inside of me telling me, stop, slow down, listen, let them finish, don't get ahead, right? That's a huge part of it. People want to be heard. People want to be heard.
There's no little man inside you. Trust me, it's a big man. Hey,
Well, I talk about he's powerful. He's powerful, but he's right about right there.
The hell was I, and what was I going on about?
so I guess another question is when you meet someone for the first time, especially a residential homeowner, how do you make them feel at ease that you're not a serial killer? Let me interject one quick tip for the guys that I always use. I was taught many years ago was, especially on a residential homeowner, ring the doorbell and then walk down the stoops away from the front door a good 7 to 10 yards so that they could look out, see who it is, and not feel threatened. If you're standing right by the door, you might have 1 out of 10 women that might not even answer the door then. They're too scared. But on that theme, what do you think about, what's the quick down and dirty? Is it a smile? Is it flashing a badge, which isn't a bad idea too, having badges. But, how can you diffuse fear to just have them be at ease?
And in today's day and age, it's a lot. It's going to be more and more of a challenge. The audio messed up on your end, or is it just in my ear, the echo?
Just in your ear.
Okay, I can deal with it. All right, so yeah, today's day and age, it's going to be more and more difficult. It just, with everything that's happening in the world and continuously and all that, it's just going to be a continuous problem. Speaking from a little bit of experience, I actually did a little bit of this in my late college days. I worked for a company that paid basically for every person that you got a lead on. I got a little bit of money, whether they ended up closing a deal or not. And it was for roofing and gutter cleaning and all that, and doing exactly this, just going around. I wasn't doing the actual assessment myself, but just going door to door, hitting literally neighborhood to neighborhood to neighborhood, and just saying, hey, we're in the neighborhood. I work for such and such company. I'd love to have somebody come out and take a look at your gutters, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I did this, and, honestly, this is probably, I don't even know now, maybe 10, 12, 13 years ago. But it really wasn't that difficult. Majority of people, if they're afraid, they're not going to answer, especially the women. If they're afraid, they're just not going to answer. Maybe 5 out of 100 people, even if that, gave me any slight ounce of trouble or who are you, what are you doing, how dare you type of. So you got to kind of set that fear aside. Now, granted, I'm a personable young man, so I'm sure my boyish good looks and charm didn't hurt the situation. But also, not only that, I worked for the public utility here, the phone company here. That was the last job I had, and I was there for a good 6-7 years, different roles within the company. And I would deal with, when it comes to, you said, wearing badges and uniforms and things of that nature, even with badges and uniforms, even when you're a big reputable company, I'd still have to deal with customer complaints calling in saying somebody was at my house today and I have no idea who they were and how dare you guys show. You're gonna encounter that at some point, one way or the other. There's no perfect way to fix everybody, so you got to kind of stop worrying about being perfect and understand that no matter what you do, what badge you wear, what uniform you wear, how much you smile, you're still going to encounter a little bit of crazy out there. That's part of the game. That being said, I do think a badge, I do think a uniform and a professional truck, when at all possible, goes a long way. I know when you're just starting out, if you're in business for yourself and you're the only employee and you just got your license and you're just, you got this beat up old car that you drive around because it's all you got, man, if it's all you got, maybe park it farther away or something. But when you can, have a nice looking vehicle, have a nice looking car, have the logos and everything all over it, wear some sort of a logoed shirt, etc. That goes a long way. But when it comes to being personable, one of the best books you can go out there and buy is How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah.
I think it's either that way or it's reversed. I think it's How to Influence People and Win Friends, or How to Win Friends and Influence People. That, I believe, is written by Dale Carnegie, but it is a book that will dive into how to deal with different personality types and how to kind of go in and out of that. On the sales side, for me, I always try to be myself. I don't try to pretend to be somebody else. So when you read a book like that, use it how it makes sense to you. But what I will say is this. You do need to understand that different personalities react differently to different approaches. And the more that you're in the business, the more that you've been in sales, the more that you've dealt with people face to face, you actually start building a blueprint of personality types in your mind. At least I do. And I was great on this. And this is why I loved working in call centers for as long as I did, because you talk to hundreds of people like daily. And you would just know. As soon as somebody started talking to me, I immediately knew what tone to use, how to approach them, what to say, what verbiage to use. Maybe, you're dealing with a younger crowd, you're dealing with an older crowd, there's all these different blueprints and maps to get into. And that's a good book that will help. So a big chunk of it is just understanding how to deal with different personalities. Always be agreeable, even if they tell you they don't want to see you, get off my property, whatever. Never ever confront, never ever get into any sort of a disagreement. Be agreeable, no one.
Yeah. I'm so in agreement there, and that's how I built my businesses, is on the marketing and branding side. And especially when I got into commercial roofing, if I'm bidding a project that's maybe a couple $100,000, you can't go in there with a paper business card with a picture of a guy on a roof with a hammer and It says A&S Roofing and Construction or something like that. So thanks for that.
Same thing is true for business logos. There's websites out there like Fiverr.com, which you can get a business logo for $5. You can get all these different things at $5, but always remember, you get what you pay for. If you're not in a position, I'll be a little harsh here. If you're not in a position to be able to spend a couple $100 on a decent logo, you probably shouldn't be starting a business, and you probably should take a step back. It doesn't mean you can't start a business. It just means if you're at a position where you can't afford to have a decent logo done and have it done professionally, same thing with business cards. If you can't afford business cards, why are you starting a business? Take a step back. It doesn't mean that you can't. It might just mean that you're rushing into things a little bit. Take a step back, fully assess. These are the type of things when you start thinking, I'm going to start a business, that you don't plan for. You're just like, oh yeah, I'll start a business. I got a truck. I got this, all right. And when it comes down to licensing and business cards and branding and that and all these other things, you end up totaling a couple grand by the time you're all said and done with everything. Can't afford that, do it the right way. Take a step back, find a way to make a little bit of money, save a little bit of money on the side, and then get into it.
Love it. All right, so let's end today's session with one last kind of thought, riff, have you throw some wisdom out here. We're approaching the end of the first half of the year. What are you doing as a owner, sales manager, your own sales to, gauge where you're currently at? Are you doing some, reflection? Are you goal setting? Here we come up to Independence Day. Kind of just tell us all, what should we be thinking about for our sales goals and efforts with one half of the year completed?
So goals are huge, right? Every company should have goals. You're surprised how many don't set them appropriately. You need goals, and goals mean nothing if you don't actually follow them, watch them, track them, have data that you can analyze. If you don't, setting a goal just to set it and then actually not putting numbers together to actually track where you're at, a recipe for disaster. So I'm a big proponent for setting big goals. I would rather a sales team fail to hit a major goal and maybe hit 75% of this like crazy. Just when you mention the sales quota and goal to your team, you want to have them be we can never do that. It's not possible. Those are the type of goals that you want to set, right? because it's going to increase action. Now, are they going to hit it 100%? Probably not. And in my opinion, you should always set goals that are just beyond attainable, but something that you can see and track and all that. Because if you hit 75% of a huge monster goal, I'd rather do that than hit 100% of some weak little baby goal that everybody can pat themselves on the back for just for being average. You got to set monster goals. So with monster goals comes a half a year, quarter, whatever mark where you're looking at and analyzing it, and it can be demoralizing. And this is why people are afraid of setting big goals, because, well, if you set goals that are too big and our people don't hit them, and then when we stop and we review the results halfway, 3/4 of the year through, and we're not even close to hitting them, it can hurt morale, and people can start complaining and whining and moaning. That's okay. That's okay. This is a perfect example where you can start showing people that you just got to increase your action. We talk about action all the time. And it's, as a business owner and as a sales manager, it's tricky because you never really want to let the team know, hey guys, I set this goal and I really don't want you to hit it, because then they're going to be operating with a mindset of, that's not a real goal anyway. Let's just do what we normally do. It is a very fine line that you have to walk. You have to stay motivating. You have to keep doing things to spruce things up. I promise you, if you get your sales team to a degree where they are bringing in better and bigger results than the year prior because you're setting bigger goals and because you're pushing them and because you're reinforcing them properly and rewarding them properly and incentivizing them properly, incentives are huge for sales teams, right? When it comes to halfway and you look at the results, it can get tough, man. It can get tough. And I'm telling you this, do not change the goal. Never change the goal halfway through the year. You set a big goal, and halfway through the year, they're only at 30% of where they should be for that goal, or 80% of where they should be for that goal at that time instead of 100 or whatever. Never, ever, ever, this is my opinion, through how I've handled sales teams, never scale the goal back. Instead, reflect on what we can change to get closer to that goal. Let's take a look at our daily breakdown. Let me see what you guys are doing. Are you keeping what's your calendar look like? What's your daily plan look like? How many phone calls are you making a day? This is when it comes down to looking at advanced analytics and advanced stats. And we haven't really talked much about that on the huddle. But you need to be tracking. If you have a big sales team, don't just, you gotta find ways to look at advanced statistics. I'm talking about, compare reps based on who is making more sales per call, more sales per appointment, closing ratios and all that. There's so many ways that you can look at everything. And what you want to try to find is a way to get everything met in the middle between those that are absolutely crushing closing rates, but not making enough appointments. So they may have an amazing closing ratio, but they're only meeting with 3 or 4 people a week, versus somebody who's got a closing ratio that comparatively is way down here, but they're meeting with 20 clients a week. So maybe instead of a closing ratio of like 30% or 40%, their closing ratio is only 10 to 15%, but they are absolutely crushing it, getting in front of a ton of people. And at the end of the day, they're closing more deals regardless of the ratio. So that's when it comes down to, you have to have, the only time you're ever going to improve upon results is with data. And that's when you need to start looking at data and compare. All right, so we've got Johnny over here. He's closing at 15%, but man, he's getting in front of 40 people a week. And then we've got Claudia over here. Again, she's closing at like 40, 50%. Phenomenal, but she's only getting in front of 4 or 5 people a week. So what do we want to do? Which side do we like? I personally like Johnny a little bit more, but Claudia's got something to bring to the table too. Let's find a way to kind of align it somewhere in the middle where, Claudia, let's work with you. Let's coach you. It's your job to coach your people. Let's coach you and train you on how to get in front of more people. Don't worry so much about the fact you might see your closing ratio drop a bit. That's okay, because we want results, right? You want money, right? You don't worry about a closing ratio. You want money in your pocket. We want money coming in. So if that was too long-winded, or you want a little bit more insight or any different little aspect of that, just let me know, or we can build on it at a different time.
Well, I think what you definitely sparked is, next time I want to maybe start picking your brain on sales compensation plans. I know we've been talking about it, but it definitely feels like you have some strength in managing people and their expectations and how to tie incentives into that. And I think maybe between now and the next time we meet, be thinking about contractors and selling jobs, and they have gross profit on those jobs. So a $10,000 roof could have a 30% gross profit, or 20 or 10, depending on how accurate the estimator was.
Right.
So that might be part of the Austin for Austin as well, but be thinking about that.
Oh, love it, man.
See ya.
Have a great